AutoCAD is a resource-hungry software, so right out of the box, the best solution to speed up AutoCAD is to get a PC with better hardware like processor, RAM, graphics card, and more. Now, if you want to know more about the hardwares and which one to choose for AutoCAD, then check the link in the description of this video where I have added an article that will help you identify the best hardware for AutoCAD, and it will also help you buy the best laptop or PC for AutoCAD. Now, if changing the hardware was an option, then you probably would not be watching this video. So let's now talk about methods you can use to speed up AutoCAD without changing any hardware in your PC or laptop. Now, speeding up AutoCAD can be achieved in two ways. First is by speeding up the PC, and the second is improving the AutoCAD software or simply by optimizing the files that you are working with in AutoCAD. We'll talk about both of these options. So with that, let's get started. Let's start with the first method, and it's making changes in AutoCAD itself. Now, the tip number one is freezing the unused layer.
So essentially, when you freeze layers, AutoCAD won't regenerate objects of that layer. What I mean is this: here we have a sample drawing and we have a long list of layers. Now let's say we don't want to work with some layers from this list, then you can simply freeze it. Here is the freeze option. So as you can see, we have grid 8 and grid line. These two are already frozen. So you can click here to unfreeze it if you want, and you can click again to just freeze it. Freezing will essentially free up space on your system memory as well, because AutoCAD won't consider any object of that layer as part of the drawing. It won't just count it, and obviously with that, the system load will decrease and the drawing will essentially perform faster. Now this is true only with larger data sets. If you have very small drawing, then freezing unused layers won't make a significant impact.
Tip number two is turning on hardware acceleration. Now, hardware acceleration is a way to allocate the dedicated tasks to a specific component in a PC so that the processor can make calculations more efficiently. So essentially, when you turn on hardware acceleration in AutoCAD, it will send the tasks like handling graphics to the graphics card or integrated graphics of the processor. Similarly, other tasks will be assigned to dedicated hardware, making room for more efficient performance in the processor. Now, this in turn will increase the speed of AutoCAD.
In AutoCAD, you can turn on hardware acceleration using command 3D config. Now, before we do that, let's see if our hardware acceleration is currently on or off, and that you can do using status bar hardware acceleration option, which is not visible. So I'll click on this 3 dash line and I'll select graphics performance from this list. Now that's going to show me this clock or this dial kind of symbol, which is currently active, which indicates that our hardware acceleration is on. If it's not, if it's grayed out, that means it's off. So now let's type 3D config, press enter, and right here we have in the effect setting hardware acceleration. As you can see, it is on. Just toggle it off, click OK, and now we don't have hardware acceleration on, and it will also turn gray. Don't do that. And if you want to speed up performance of AutoCAD, then make sure that 3D configuration and hardware acceleration is on. So this should be on. Click OK and done.
Now, tip number three is removing third-party plugins.
Now, if you are using a lot of third-party plugins, then this may also, really slow down your software performance. In my case, I'll just go to add-in and I'll show you the third-party plugin that I'm using, which is just one, Restore Drawing. Now, let's say you have several of these and you only use just a few of the installed plugins. In that case, remove everything that you don't need. This will obviously improve the performance of your AutoCAD software. Now, to remove these extra add-ins or the plugins, all you need to do is just go to App Manager, select the one which you want to remove. For example, in this case, I'll select Restore Drawing, right click and uninstall. And when this prompt shows up, select Yes. And that's just going to uninstall it. Now in this case, I'm not going to reboot my PC now, but I also don't want to close AutoCAD, so I'll select the second option so that it uninstalls, and the next time when I open the PC, it will remove it from AutoCAD interface as well. So it's gone, and the next time I'll open this, it won't be here. So you can restart your AutoCAD after uninstalling all the unused apps.
Now, tip number 4 is cleaning AutoCAD files with purge and overkill and fixing errors with audit command.
So if some drawings are performing really bad, if you're facing issues, performance issues, especially with some specific drawings, then this method can be used. Now, let's say that we have a really bulky drawing which is not loading up properly, or where you are making something and making changes and it's not performing well. In that case, you can clean it up using purge command. So purge. Essentially, purge command will remove anything that is not used in your drawing but still available in the database. So I'll type purge and press enter. Now here you can see that we have some blocks, extra blocks here in the drawing, and there are actually 3 extra blocks which is available in the database. So if you click insert, you're going to see these blocks, but these blocks are not used anywhere in the drawing. So of course, if required, you can delete it. Similarly, we have some extra dimension styles, multi-letter style, text style, and so on. Now, depending on the drawing, this list may vary, and anything which is extra will show up here in this list with this plus icon. Not only that, you can also check these options. Well, you can just check the first option if you want a confirmation dialog box before AutoCAD removes any object. And also, if you want to purge any nested objects, zero length geometries, and DGN line types, and several other things are created in drawings that are usually older, and also orphan data without any kind of link. So all these things are simply bloating up your drawing database, and you can clean it up. So select it all, click purge all checked items, and we have a clean drawing now. This will not only improve performance, but it will also make your drawing lighter. So now the file size will reduce. Another thing is overkill. So you can use this command overkill, and that will essentially let you merge separate objects, and also it will help you clean objects. For example, here I'll just select this entire drawing and press enter. Now in this case, as you can see, this will delete duplicate objects. So if there are overlaps, it will delete the overlapped copy, and also if you have collinear objects that are combined from end to end, then it will combine it into one single line or polyline, and so on. So this will simplify your drawing, and once again, this will reduce the drawing database size. So you can of course use this option as well. And finally, the last option is audit, and this should be used if you feel like your drawing is quite corrupted or it's seriously not working. So you can use audit command. So select audit and then select yes here, and it's going to perform an audit, and it will fix any error and erase objects which are completely corrupted. So that will also clean up your drawing and make it faster.
Tip number 5 is updating AutoCAD and installing latest hotfixes. This will keep your software always up to date and error free, and ultimately it will perform smoothly.
So to update AutoCAD, all you need to do is just go to the status bar and select Autodesk Desktop app from here. So just open it, and now with that open, go to updates, and here you'll see list of all the pending updates. Simply update everything that is required for AutoCAD. If you want updates for a specific software, you can select your software, and it's going to show all the updates and other things related to that specific software. In my case, as you can see, I don't have any pending update for AutoCAD. I usually keep it always up to date. So if in your case you have some sort of update pending, update it from here.
Now, tip number 6 is changing or disabling system variables.
So in AutoCAD, there are some settings that will make your drawing visually appealing, or maybe selection of certain objects quite easier, but at the cost of speed. So you can deactivate those system variables and other settings to improve the performance. As an example, you can deactivate selection preview. So what is selection preview? Well, if you hover your cursor over any object, that object will highlight. As you can see, this line is highlighting. So is this. Now this preview, well, can be deactivated using selection preview. Now the current value of this system variable is 3. Change it to 0 and enter. Now if I highlight my cursor, if I move it over any object, it's not going to highlight, but it will still select if I click. So that's going to impact the performance in a positive way. Another one is dynamic input. Now dynamic input is just this. On the status bar, you'll see this dynamic input right here. You can click it, and with that active, if you select a command, you're going to see this dynamic input dialog box right next to the cursor. Now this is something which people often want, and it's kind of like a personal preference thing. I don't prefer this dynamic input. I tend to keep it off. So if you don't want it, just keep it off, and this will also improve the performance. If you don't see this dynamic input option here, simply go to this 3 dash line and activate dynamic input. Now it's going to show up and you can just deactivate it. Or you can also use din mode command. So din mode, press enter and then change the value to -3, which I already have right now. There is also a third shortcut, and that's F12 function key for dynamic input mode. So you can just toggle it on or off using F12 function key. Now another one is quick properties. So you can hide quick properties. So when you select an object, a small dialog box called quick property usually pops up, which again decreases the performance. So you can just type QP mode, press enter and then change this value to 0 or -1. In my case it is, as you can see, -1. So it will essentially keep it off. So 0 or -1 value will deactivate it. Now another thing is tabs. So try to keep only required number of tabs open. So not only the system variables but also these tabs. As you can see, I just have one tab open right now, but if you add several tabs, then AutoCAD will calculate those drawings as well, and that will decrease the performance. So if you don't need a drawing, just close it, and when required you can open it always.
Okay, so those were the tips related to AutoCAD software itself. Now let's talk about the tips that will increase the speed of your PC or laptop, which will eventually speed up your AutoCAD software as well. Well, here the tip number 1 is disabling startup programs.
So startup programs are simply the programs that start when you start your PC. Now to check what programs are running in the background, well, you can press and hold Ctrl Alt and then press delete. So Ctrl Alt delete and then select Task Manager. In the Task Manager, I am currently using Windows 11, so I have a different kind of Task Manager where I have all of these options here at the left. But in your case, if you are using Windows 10, then these options might be here at the top, but they're essentially the same. So simply select the startup program. So here I have this startup apps, and these are all the apps that are currently running in the background. As you can see, I have a lot to disable. Even, well, in my case, I simply need to disable several of these useless apps. So this status enabled and the startup impact is high, and not only it's impacting the startup time, but it's also going to impact the performance. So just disable every single software or process that you are not planning to use. So in this case, I think I'll just disable this, select, right click, disable, or you can just select and then click on disable. So you just need to do that for every single tool that you don't want to use. Once you are done disabling everything that you don't need, simply close it and restart your PC. And that will have a massive impact on the performance.
Tip number 2 is closing background programs, especially Google Chrome. Now this may seem quite trivial, but Google Chrome and several other programs are memory hogs. It will eat up way too much memory, leaving little space for AutoCAD to run. So it's better to keep Google Chrome and other softwares off whenever you are working with AutoCAD.
So every program essentially consumes system resources. It could be CPU, memory, disk, or GPU. Now, as an example, Google Chrome is quite a resource hungry software, and as you can see, Google Chrome is consuming 976 MB out of, well, this entire memory. Now I have 32 gigabyte of memory installed, so it's performing really well. But just imagine if I'm using something like 4 gigabytes or maybe even 8 gigabytes. In that case, closing Google Chrome will have a massive impact on the performance because it's almost consuming 1 gigabyte of memory alone. So just turn off Google Chrome and that's going to impact the performance massively. And also you can look for other softwares in this list and you can just close them if you don't need it, and that's again going to improve the performance.
Now tip number 3 is checking the hardware bottleneck by using Performance Monitor and Task Manager.
Now let me show you how you can check the hardware bottlenecks, and for that you can simply go to this performance option right here, and now, well, we have all the peripherals listed here. So we have got the GPU, we've got the disk, memory, and CPU here. Now currently CPU is being used at about 22% and everything is quite optimum, so there is no bottleneck. If however I launch a software, maybe let's say AutoCAD, then it will impact this performance. Now the CPU it just shot up to 36%, 50 even. Memory is still somewhat similar, it's still at 35%, but the GPU has also shot up. So now you can see how it just impacts it. Now at some point, if if you feel that CPU is maxing out to 100%, or maybe if memory is showing 100% usage and even disk is using 100% usage, then it's time to upgrade that peripheral, and that is the bottleneck which you just need to upgrade. So if the disk is showing 100% disk usage, simply upgrade to an SSD. If memory is showing 100%, you need to upgrade RAM. So that's how you can identify the actual components that needs to be upgraded, rather than simply selecting any random peripheral and upgrading it.
Tip number 4 is cleaning up temporary folder. Also, perform disk cleanup to clean up unnecessary files, and also ensure that you have sufficient disk space to run the software without crashing.
Alright, so let me show you how to clean the temporary folder first. So simply press and hold the window key and then type R on your keyboard, and that will bring this run dialog box. Simply type %temp %. So that's how it should look like. So %temp and then press enter, and that will open the temporary folder. Now everything inside this temporary folder can be deleted, and actually this is just useless stuff here, temporary stuff that you can select all, control all and select everything and then press delete key. Now that will just clean it up. This will improve once again the performance of your PC, which in turn will improve performance of AutoCAD. As you can see, I'm now deleting almost 9 gigabytes of temporary data. Alright, and as you can see, not all the things will be deleted. So if it's not able to delete anything, well, you can skip it. So everything else will be skipped, and I'll just cancel this. Alright, so it's now clean. Now the next step is disk cleanup. So for disk cleanup, well, you can just go to start and start typing disk, and it will show you this disk cleanup. Select disk cleanup, select the drive which you want to clean. In this case, it's obviously C drive. Now you should regularly keep C drive clean. There is one big reason behind this as well, and that's the minimum storage requirement to run AutoCAD, and that's 20 gigabytes. So you should have at least 20 gigabytes of free space on your C drive to smoothly run AutoCAD. If you are below that limit, AutoCAD will start crashing. So just ensure that it has more than 20 gigabytes of free space. Even if you have more than 20 gigabytes of free space, you can still clean it up using this. So select C drive, click OK. It will analyze your drive and it will show you everything that you can delete. So in my case, it's just showing 593 MB of data that we can delete, but you can also manually select things that your current PC is not selecting. Now another thing is this clean up system files. Select this option, clean up system files, and once again click OK. Now it may look like it's just repeating the same process, but now it will show you more options. That includes system files. For example, now we have a new option here, Windows upgrade log files. Now if you don't want it, and usually we don't want it, you can delete that as well. And there are several other things that you can select. For example, temporary files. Obviously we don't want it, we just deleted it, but still we have about 2 gigabytes of it. You can select it from here and it will take care of it. Recycle bin, if you want to clean it, well, that's here. Just check it and it will delete it. So I guess for my situation, that's just sufficient, and we'll have about 3 gigabytes of extra storage now. So it will free up 3 gigabytes. So with that, click OK and delete files, and that's going to clean up and will recover about 3 gigabytes of space. And we are done.
Tip number 5 is updating Windows operating system and keeping your hardware drivers like graphics card driver up to date.
Now for updating Windows, all you need to do is just go to start and type update, and that's going to show you Windows update setting. Select this option, Windows update setting, and well, this will show you Windows update setting. Now as you can see, I have a lot of updates pending which I should, so that's what I'm going to do. So I'll simply select download and install, and if you don't see anything here, you can click on check for updates, and that's going to show you all the updates that you need to perform. In this case, I'll select download and install all, and it's going to just download all the updates and install it. So it's recommended that you keep your PC up to date, and if there are any missing drivers or updates for any driver, it will automatically show up in this list and it will perform the updates for you. So after it is done downloading all these files, it will automatically update it, and you may need to restart the PC as well.
Now tip number 6 may seem a little controversial, but here it is. Disable your third-party antivirus software. Now, usually these antivirus softwares run in background all the time and they consume system resources. In Windows operating system, especially if you are using Windows 10 and 11, you don't need any dedicated antivirus software because Windows has its own antivirus which is really lightweight and it works great. It's called Windows MSRT or Malicious Software Removal Tool. It works in the background, taking very little system resources, and it detects all the viruses that premium antiviruses can. If you're not comfortable removing your third-party antivirus software, then you can disable it temporarily when you are working with large datasets in your drawing or whenever you are facing performance issues. You can enable it back again when you are done. Now, tip number 7 is high performance Windows settings.
So with high performance Windows setting, Windows will optimize hardware for best performance. Now you may see drop in battery lifetime if you are using laptop, and if you are using a PC, then the power input will actually increase slightly, so it won't be very significant. So if you are on PC, then turning on high performance mode is not very detrimental, but if you are on a laptop, then you may need to be very mindful of the battery performance, which may degrade, but it will definitely increase the performance of your PC. Now to start the high performance mode, simply press and hold your window key and then type R, and that's going to open this run window. And here simply type powercfg.cpl. Type it, press enter, and that's going to open the power plan option. So here, as you can see, I've got this balanced selected. I'll now click here and that's going to show the high performance mode. Select high performance and we are done. So that's how you can change this. Once you're done, you can close it and restart your PC. And we are now working with the high performance mode.
So that was our list of tips that you can follow to speed up performance of AutoCAD without upgrading the hardware. But even after implementing these changes, if the system performance is still not good enough, then it's time to upgrade the hardware. You can check the article in the description of this video to see the best methods of choosing the hardware like processor, RAM, graphics, storage, and more for AutoCAD, including some recommendations for laptop and PC that works best with AutoCAD. So I hope this video helped. If you have questions, let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you soon in another video.